Hi everyone, it's me Tammy from Happy Rock Crafts. I'm here to show you how to do a single crochet. This is my crochet beginner series. You should already be comfortable with the chain stitch. That is the first video prior to this one. So once you're comfortable with that, you should be able to do the single crochet. I'm going to be using Yarn Bee Scrubology Scrub It yarn. It is from Hobby Lobby. And I'm also using a size I crochet hook, a 5.5 millimeter, and this is the Yarnology brand, and this is from Hobby Lobby as well. So now to start, you're going to take your yarn and you're going to make a slip knot. And then you're going to take your crochet hook, insert your crochet hook in there, and tighten it up. And we're going to do a foundation chain of 11. So the chaining stitch, when you did your chaining stitch in the previous video, that was working a foundation chain. So that's what we're going to do now. So we're going to chain a total of 11. So we're going to grab our yarn and bring it through the loop on the hook, and that's 1. And we're going to do that 11 times. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a single crochet into the second chain from hook. So we're skipping the first chain because that's our turning chain. And the loop on your hook does not count as a stitch or a chain. And this is our first chain here, and this is our second chain. So this is where we want to insert our hook. And if you're looking at your chains, you can see that each chain is like a V-stitch. And that's how you can count your chains. And we're just going underneath the top loop of each of those chains. And we're going to work a single crochet, and we're going to do that into the second chain. So to do that, you're just going to insert your hook into that second chain underneath the top loop. You're going to yarn over, bring that yarn through the chain, and now you have 2 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over again and go through both of those loops. And that's your first single crochet. And now we're going to do that into each of those chains to the end. So this is our next chain. We're just inserting our hook again underneath that top loop, yarning over, bringing that yarn through, and now you have 2 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and go through both of those loops. So let's do that again. Insert your hook into the next chain, yarn over, bring that yarn through. You have 2 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and go through both of those loops on your hook. And we're doing that again. So insert your hook, yarn over, bring that yarn through the chain. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, go through both of those loops, and that's a single crochet. So we're doing that all the way to the end. And you'll notice our second round, we're still going to do the same thing. It's just going to be a little different. So as we're working on the foundation row, you'll notice when we insert our hook into the chain that we need to work our single crochet into, like this, we're just going underneath 1 loop. For the second row, we're going to be working underneath 2 loops. And I will explain that when we get to that second row. So I'm almost done. And I'm just working my single crochets. And this is my last one. There we go. And that's our first row of single crochets. Now if you want to count them to make sure you have 10 or however many you need to have, all you need to do is look at the top and you'll see each stitch has a V shape, and that's how you would count those. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and this one here is 10. And you know that that's the last one because right next to it you'll have this here vertical bar, and that's like a stop. Okay, there's no more stitches or anything beyond there. So the first one next to that vertical bar is your first stitch. So we have 10 stitches, so 10 single crochets. And now to do the second row, we are gonna turn our work, and we're gonna chain one. This chain one, remember, is just our turning chain. And now we're gonna work a single crochet again into each of those stitches we did. So we're gonna work a single crochet into the first stitch. So remember, the loop on your hook does not count as a stitch or a chain. This is our chain one, and this right here is our first stitch. So if you insert your hook into that first stitch and then you turn a little bit, you're gonna see that you have 2 loops now that you're gonna be inserting your hook underneath. And that is exactly what you want. And that's because now we're gonna be working continuous rounds after the foundation chain. The foundation chain only has 1 loop that we insert our hook under, and that's just because we're working underneath that top loop. And now we're working right through the top of the single crochet, so that's why we have 2 loops that we're inserting our hook under. I hope that makes sense. So now we're going to yarn over. Just bring your yarn through that stitch. You still have 2 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and go through those 2 loops. So you're still doing the single crochet the same way. You're just inserting your hook into the next stitch, and when you do, it's underneath both bars. And you're going to yarn over, bring that yarn through the stitch. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and go through both loops. And again, insert your hook into the next stitch. It's both loops, yarn over, bring that through the stitch. Now you have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and go through both. There are other ways to do the single crochet. You can do it in the front loop and back loop only, and that's at a later lesson I'll show you. Right now we're just concentrating on working a single crochet just the old-fashioned normal way. So insert your hook into the next stitch, you're underneath both loops, yarn over, bring that yarn through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and go through both of those loops. And we're going to do this all the way to the end. My yarn is a little snagged up. I apologize. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom in so you can get a close-up view of me doing the single crochet. Okay, I'm inserting my hook into the next stitch. You'll see both loops, yarning over, bringing that yarn through the stitch. I have 2 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and go through both of those loops. And again, inserting my hook into the next stitch. It's underneath both loops, yarning over, bringing that yarn through that stitch. I have 2 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and go through both of those loops. And again, inserting my hook into the next stitch, yarning over, bringing that yarn through the stitch. I have 2 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and go through both of those loops. And again, so we're just working a single crochet. And we're doing this all the way to the end. And if you're not sure if you worked into the last stitch or not, remember what I told you about this here vertical bar? That's like a stop, like there's nothing beyond that. So you'll know if you're looking here, okay, there's my vertical bar, and right here's that V, and I have not worked into it, so I do have 1 stitch left. So you're just going to insert your hook there, yarn over, bring that yarn through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and go through both of those loops, and that's your single crochet. So that's your row 2 that you did of single crochets. So we're going to turn our work, we're going to chain 1, and remember that chain 1 is just our turning chain, so we don't work into it, and this is the loop on our hook, and this here is our first stitch. So we're just going to repeat that. We're just inserting our hook into that first stitch underneath both loops, yarning over, bringing that yarn through the stitch. We now have 2 loops on our hook. You're going to yarn over and go through both of those loops, and that's your single crochet. And you're going to continue to do that all the way to the end. You're just going to be repeating this. And so now for my class, when I showed them this stitch where you're working a single crochet and you're just doing it in rows and turning and working single crochets, I had them make a set of coasters. So if you're using the scrubby yarn, I would recommend that you do a set of scrubbies. So a good size width-wise is if you chain 11, and then you just work a single crochet back and forth until you get to the height that you want, and then once you get to that height, you would just fasten that off. And I will do another video showing you how I fasten off when I get to a nice square size. So go ahead, and if you're continuing and you want practice, just keep working single crochet rows until you get to the height that you want, and then come back and I'll show you how to fasten that off and weave in the ends, and then you'll have a completed little scrubby or coaster. Thanks for watching.